Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, is hosting a media briefing, likely to touch on that as well. Let's go to that on the sidelines of the NEC meeting taking place at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg.
And how service delivery is being accelerated, where there are established backlogs, particularly in the context of local government. Key among issues of service delivery will be efforts towards ending load shedding, including in this regard the installation of transformers in communities where some of whom have had no electricity for several years in areas such as Soweto due to exploded transformers. This must certainly be linked on how to secure the newly installed transformers against vandalism and the overloading often caused by illegal connections. This was noting the recent report by the Statistician General, Mr. Mbalula, indicating the huge progress made over the last 3 decades on electrification, amongst many other impressive delivery records. Therefore, the current challenge being energizing all electrified households. Other issues also key on service delivery will be access to water in various communities around the country, including in areas negatively impacted by non-functional water pumps that were stalled because of load shedding. Combating crime, which undermines the safety of our people, such as through acts of housebreaking, rape, and gender-based violence in general, theft of public infrastructure, cash in transit heists, as well as the criminal phenomenon known as zamazamas that undermines safety of communities while stealing the country's mineral wealth, will be amongst issues high on the agenda on steps to speedily combat their continued manifestation. Yet another area key to service delivery will be matters pertaining transportation of passengers and goods by PRASA and Transnet respectively. This is important for the socio-economic welfare of our people and commuters in particular. The speedy refurbishment of the Transnet rail system will help remove trucks from the roads, which damages road infrastructure and adds to traffic jam and accidents. Very importantly, this will help in the efficient transportation of outward and inward bound goods to and from our harbors for export and imports respectively. The National Executive Meeting will also consider reports on the state of readiness of our organizational structures to implement programs geared towards the 2024 national and provincial elections. The NEC meeting is convened as the various national sporting codes are either participating in key tournaments or are preparing for such upcoming international tournaments. The NEC takes this opportunity to wish Amapogopogo well as they continue to make the country proud, having reached the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup. The NEC also wishes our cricket players well as they also continue to participate in international competitions. The NEC will also recall the sterling performances by Banyana in the recent World Cup, the excellent performance by our national netball team, and further note that Bafana are preparing themselves for AFCON next year. We wish all the sporting codes well in their endeavors. The NEC meeting will consider a report from the Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation Ministry, headed by Comrade Zizi Kodwa, on developments around the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, which has been making headlines to the extent that this will affect the participation of our national team in terms of hosting the national flag. We have urged the Minister and Government to work decisively by ensuring that this particular mishap or what is being reported does not happen. And in today's National Executive Committee, having received the report, Zizi, as the Minister, together with our Committee on Arts and Culture, will report on the interventions that have been made to deal with this particular issue, with a view of sustaining the integrity of our sporting codes amongst the nations of the world against any possibility of drug abuse. Whilst we have complete confidence in our systems, nonetheless, this must be seen to be upright by following on the relevant protocols to ensure transparency and integrity. The NEC meeting will also receive a report on the successful appointment of the ANC Ekurhuleni Regional Task Team as per previous resolution in this regard, following the court ruling directing that national office to appoint the RTT as the previous Regional Executive Committee was disbanded by the same court judgment. The names of the 25 comrades appointed into the Ekurhuleni Task Team have been inaugurated, and yesterday we had a successful meeting of all our branches in Ekurhuleni. This task team, which will act as a regional executive committee in the absence of such, with full powers, will be convened by Comrade Dr. Kagaza and will be coordinated by Comrade Jongizizwe Dlabati, who is the chief whip of the ANC in a Ekurhuleni Council, supported by experienced comrades in Ekurhuleni, and as well comrades who have taken part in the structures of the organization in that region. And we are delighted that our structures have welcomed the finalization of this matter. And the vacuum is closed and we are ready to go. We have full confidence that these comrades appointed into the Ekurhuleni RTT will fulfill all the constitutional obligations of the Regional Executive Committee, and most importantly focus on the imperatives of leading a robust program towards 2024 national and provincial elections. The NEC will expound on the report from the Statistician General as a basis on evaluating progress made on service delivery, whilst awaiting the announcement on the 30-year review report, which we believe will similarly speak to the same facts reported by Statistics South Africa. The National Executive Committee will also consider the unfolding program on the 2019 elections manifesto review report back as part of accounting on the popular electoral mandate bestowed on the ANC, as well as consolidating our responses to service delivery throughout the country. All these reports will give us the marching orders as the ANC, as we embark on responding to service delivery issues as per the 6 government priorities and the 10-point plan, as we conclude the popular mandate of the 6th government administration and the milestone of the 30th anniversary of the 1994 democratic breakthrough that installed Nelson Mandela as the inaugural president of a free and democratic South Africa. And in this regard, our contention is that the proof of the ANC record is self-evident on the comprehensive socio-economic transformation, either yet to effected to change the lives of our people, whilst at the same time acknowledging the development backlogs that require our rapid response, the details of which is to be elaborated in the next installment of our election manifesto. We will continue to brief the media, particularly at the end of the NEC meeting, on the discussions, resolutions, and consequent programs of implementation as adopted in this regard. And we will also brief the media in terms of what the National Executive Committee, from the point of view of details of the issues I've outlined, will be dealing with and how. We are at the stage where, as the National Executive Committee, we are monitoring the implementation and Last but not least, we will deal with the fiscal situation that has been reported in our country, and we'll receive a report also from ETC as well as the Minister of Finance, not discussing the detail, but briefing the NEC on the fiscal situation of South Africa, so that there is certainty about the way forward. We will also discuss the cost of living and how to mitigate, and what government is doing to mitigate with all partners in relation to the cost of living in the country. So it's a jam-packed meeting of the NEC. Of course, in progress now is a political overview of the president looking at the balance of forces, but at the same time looking at the global situation. As you would have seen, our moment of solidarity as we start this National Executive Committee with Palestine, but also calling for peace in the Middle East, and calling on the world to work through the United Nations not to abandon the efforts of realization of the two-state solution between the people of Israel and Palestine. So thank you very much, and one wish to pause there in terms of outlining the purpose of the meeting of the National Executive Committee. Over to you, spokesperson.
Thank you very much, SG. With that, I'm going to quickly move to identify colleagues who wish to fire some questions. I've got a hand. Is that a hand? It's going this way. It's going horizontally. So I'll start with the one that's vertical. SABC?
Okay, it's Natasha Kurika from SABC News. Secretary General, you touched on it briefly, that the agency will be discussing efforts to end load shedding. What strides have you made? Because remember, during the manifesto review launch on the Saturday, when the President was actually addressing academia and editors, he had said that come 2024, he is certain that load shedding would be a thing of the past. Furthermore, you heard the comments there of former ANC President Thabo Mbeki lamenting the ANC for the failure to renew itself. Will you be discussing this issue? And also the deadline for the ANC, this process is looming. I think tomorrow's the 15th, right? Tomorrow's the deadline. How far are you seeing that the ANC had actually extended the process? Yeah.
Thank you very much, SABC. Yes, ANC.
Thank you. Some have been covered by my colleague, but maybe just on service delivery, the water situation that we're seeing, there are also allegations around corruption that's done deliberately in order to get tenders. Is it something that you're hearing of as the ANC, where these service providers are deliberately damaging infrastructure in order to continue getting these water tankers? And just to add on to Natasha on around President Mbeki, are you engaging him? Because he continuously makes these utterances around the renewal of the ANC. He said it in UNISA, he said it again just 2 days ago. We've heard from you, but are you talking to the former president to try and find out maybe where the issues are?
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to take one last hand, if there is any, this side, before I come to this side. Do we have anyone this side? No, we don't. All right. Lizetta, is it your hand up or it's your colleague?
Okay, I'm there with the SABC. Maybe just question is just a challenge to what colleagues have asked about the former president Mbeki's utterances. Secretary General, what would you say to those who are saying, in fact, since the adoption of the resolution on renewal, this renewal has been seen by many as an attempt to deal with those who are seen not to be, or who are seen, in fact, to be against the current administration of the President Ramaphosa, as opposed to really dealing with what is perceived as graft or perceived as malfeasance from all sections of the ANC, or all factions, if there is any faction, as you would rebut that there is a faction in the ANC. Is this a renewal really something that is meant to deal with everyone, not looking at whether you supported someone or you're closer to the president or to the corridors of power.
Are you done?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Over to you, SG.
Thank you very much for the questions. First, with Natasha, strides we've made on load shedding. We are going to have Sputla coming here to brief you, and also Mamuluko. We have adopted the 10-year plan for government to implement. There's been a great deal of progress that has been made in relation to that, from the point of view of pushing back load shedding and ensuring that we get to a point where this country there is zero load shedding in terms of electricity supply. And there's great progress that has been made. You're getting progress weekly from government side in terms of the Minister of Electricity. And you will get further details in terms of the 10-point plan, what has been done. As the ANC, we are still very clear that we don't have to deal with load shedding simply because there is an election. We must deal with the load shedding to stabilize our economy. And we must deal with load shedding to ensure that we do away with load shedding once and for all in this country. South Africa cannot be counted among other states which has failed on an issue like this one, where we are now compared to a failed state. There's been a cacophony of voices that equate our country because of load shedding to some failed states model, either in the continent or elsewhere in the world. We want load shedding to be done and dusted and done away with. The report we get weekly from the working committee, now coming to the NEC, is quite encouraging. We subscribe to a mixed intervention in terms of electricity supply in the country, and all other models must be explored. And we must not close ourselves out like we did in the recent past, and then we end up in a crisis, whereas we've got the capabilities that we can implement in doing away, in ensuring that we don't realize load shedding like we have done. So you'll be briefed in detail about that, but I wish to outline the perspective that if it happens before end of the year that there is no load shedding, we'll be happy. But at the end of the day, load shedding must be done away with. Not only that, there are capital projects within ESCOM. We have rolled out, it has now been empirically proven in terms of evidence from Statistics South Africa that the account of the past 30 years of freedom will say to you that South Africans have been connected to the grid. The fact that we realize load shedding, it does not mean that electricity supply and connection of the households have not happened in the past 30 years. It has happened. It is said that we're at 36 when we came into power. We are almost at 100% in terms of electricity connection. The people of Soweto, and including in Ekurhuleni and everywhere else in this province of Gauteng in particular, they say to us as we do the report back, we don't even know load shedding. Our problem is that we have not been connected because of vandalism of transformers and so on, and illegal connections that has happened in our backyard. And that has hampered our connectivity, which has been done by the democratic government through ESCOM. So all of this must be rectified in a way. As we kill load shedding, people say we can afford this on our own. There are different measures which, when we went to our people and talked to them, they were amenable to them. They said some of them were ready for a prepaid arrangement in that way. We have addressed issues of the liability of ESCOM particularly for residents in the bigger townships, and bring it down. But at the same time, we have sought the people participation in relation to the solution that we have given to the people. The Minister of Electricity himself have been on the ground on these issues, and he can give you better details on the accord or the social pact that the communities are prepared to go with us in terms of in terms of electricity supply going into the future. So these are the things that we need to do. And in this meeting of the National Executive Committee, these are some of the things that we'll deal with. And we think they must not just be accelerated, but they must be addressed. The comments of President Thabo Mbeki, we note those comments in reality that the President Mbeki has actually raised about the whole range of issues. It is not up to us when older people make comments and criticize us, we respond to them. We have taken that view as the National Executive Committee. President Mbeki is a veteran of the ANC, he's a stalwart, he's decorated. When you see him, you see ANC itself. So the issues that he raises about the renewal, we are attending to them. We are almost 1 year from conference. I've met with him several times, and we have agreed on this. So we have adopted a committee of renewal. We are no longer at a conceptual level about the renewal. What is renewal? Renewal is about not only dealing mainly with ethical conduct of members, it deals also with the modernization of the ANC as a party, among others. There's a whole range of issues that we deal with. So the Renewal Committee is headed by the President, and I'm the coordinator. We are supported by former leaders in terms of the Renewal project. So it's going to be implemented in terms of it being overseen by the committee that the National Executive Committee will finalize here today. We wanted to move with speed by now, that committee should have been intact. It is not, but the renewal project in itself cannot be confined to committees. It is unfolding and implemented. And let's talk about corruption. It is not like before, where members of the ANC can be implicated into corrupt activities and be arrested, and the organization will simply flout the presumption of innocence principle. We have taken further steps as a party, first and foremost. There's no other party in this country that have taken steps like the ANC have done. You know of the step aside. And people still speak about the step aside like ANC has not done anything. It's complicit. It doesn't care about corruption. It's as a result of renewal that we tightened these measures. We have established the Integrity Commission in the party. And there's been issues about the Integrity Commission, about its functioning, its intervention and recommendations. As the new National Executive Committee, we have taken strides and we're rectifying those issues. Terms of reference, and then ensuring that we don't have the issues that the Integrity Commission had in the past. And that's why after this meeting, we have taken a decision last night. We are going to have a special NEC meeting to finalize the terms of reference, all the recommendations of the Integrity Commission. There are 91 cases that are reported that have gone through the Integrity Commission, and the Integrity Commission want to know what decisions have been taken. We will, in the special meeting, table what decisions have been taken. If there was no action, the NEC will have to pronounce what needs to be done on those decisions. I know your favorite is Pala Pala, because everybody is concerned about that. The President did go to the Integrity Commission about Pala Pala, and the Integrity Commission has pronounced on that particular matter. There are many other of our comrades who have gone to Integrity Commission. Zwelim Kize have gone to Integrity Commission about whatever case that is actually facing. And there are people who went to the Integrity Commission Some of them who appeared before the Zondo Commission, others did not. An integrity commission have pronounced on those people that they must appear before the disciplinary committee. We have given those names to the disciplinary committee to consider, but there's been a backlog in terms of disciplinary processes. I'm just giving you the operational specifics of what Renewal has brought to us, which was not there in the past, about the ANC. And you can compare us to anyone. Today, as a member of the ANC, you will be subjected to integrity evaluation through the Integrity Commission. As a member of the ANC, if you are arrested, you either step aside voluntarily or you will be made to step aside. There's no question about that. And this is what we have done. At the level of government, we're strengthening institutions. At the level of government, we are now moving of bringing back what used to be called the scorpions to strengthen the arm of the state. And it has gone through past cabinet. Very soon, this will be intact in our country. And we have dealt with issues of corruption and recovering money that was embezzled and misused for PPEs. People have been arrested. Monies have been recovered in billions and millions in terms of that particular work. The Fusion Center was established quickly to deal with these matters. There are individuals you never knew who benefited from the PPEs during the period of COVID-19, as we speak, are facing charges in court. Monies have been recovered. There is no holiday for criminals, but we have recognized that criminals are also sophisticated. And then they are sophisticated, they've got resources to defend themselves and everything else, which is a requirement in terms of the law of South Africa. But nonetheless, our determination, consolidating, strengthening the institutions of the state, which we have admitted that at some point these institutions were weakened. We have worked backward to ensure that these institutions are actually strengthened. So, President Mbeki and his views about the renewal could be justified given the pace and where you want the organization to be at. And in this particular instance, if you are an organization which has got elders like him, you don't argue with them. You embrace what they say as a constructive criticism, even if they have to raise it in public, in the midst of our enemies. It's still fine with us. That's what makes the ANC better. That's what makes the ANC to win the accolade of a people's movement. Umbuto wabantu. Because everybody has got a claim to this organization. Even people who are fierce critics of the ANC, they will tell you, I was here. I was made to move a bit because of the following things were not met. To win those people back, it's important that we must listen. If you are an organization that is allergic to criticism, you will not grow. You will not even be seen to be an organization on the mend. And what we promised in our manifesto in 2019, we said we've got the good and the bad, and then we have veered away at some point, and then our people have accepted that. And this is what we need to understand going forward. So President Mbeki and the comments and everything else, it is something that the party all the time, as we meet, like in the National Executive Committee, if such things are raised, we must attend to them. But our doors are not closed. We'll still engage. He's a member of the NEC, he has apologized from being here, and we'll still engage. And we know some of the views that he has expressed to some of us. But at the end of the day, the movement has got to consolidate and defend freedom. Otherwise, whilst we criticize each other, this freedom will go, because our enemies and our opponents, I'm using the word enemies and opponents interchangeably because the two is not the same, have increased and have become emboldened with the belief that the ANC can actually drop in this election, and in that way the elephant will fall, because they call us an elephant. They say you must eat it piece by piece. But we are not a falling elephant. We're moving on. And we are very much determined to do the corrections as we move on. The deadline for nominations is this weekend. Is the 14th, 15th tomorrow. And then we are giving a detailed report. There's been a great improvement in terms of the nominations. But the report will tell us, and we'll give you a feedback on Tuesday, once the NEC has reflected on the NWC report on that matter, how far we have gone. ENCA, Mkunu will come here and tell you about water, and Social Transformation Committee will tell you. You will know that some of the water challenges we've got is as a result of maintenance in the municipalities. I live in Johannesburg, and I live in the suburbs. In Johannesburg, in the suburbs, that's where I live. And then even the suburbs have been affected by water shortage. Normally, when there is a problem of water, it goes one way to the suburbs, which are townships. But in this instance, the problem of water shortage has been global. You wake up, there is no water in Johannesburg. And these are the defects in the system of multipartyism and coalitions. Because you see that Johannesburg has been mismanaged. There's never been stability here since we have a period of coalitions. It's democracy. But you know why? It's because when a new coalition partner come in, they want their new municipal manager. They chuck away everybody in the system. They get their own people for a quick thing. And then after 5 days, there is change in the room. The partners do not disagree. And then they change, and then there is no stability. That's why, as the ANC, we went to the coalition conference convened by the Deputy President and said, let us legislate that the party that is in majority must be allowed to form government and work with others, irrespective of whether you agree or not agree. I must not work with people. Anyway, these coalitions we've got, we are with people there who ideologically we don't share the same perspective. But we're there for convenience, looking at each other for convenience and all of that. That's the reality. But that on its own affects governance. When we went to this, others boycotted, not many. And then there was a movie there by one young star there who heads a political party who did what he calls a walk away. Small political parties fought very hard to say that you can't bring that. You are undemocratic, will take you to court. They threatened everything. Because here in this country, in terms of the arrangement we have at local government, a party with two people can have a mayor of the city and call shots and become a kingmaker and all of that. And then others argue that that is the democratic outcome. But the democratic outcome that affects the will of the people. The people who voted did not give you outright majority. In self-respect and modesty, you are supposed to say, Nindinika into enguru bandagwe to konta diabulela, and the gang and dinikwe amandla, amangaka, by the people who voted for me. I'm a one-man party. Let me play in the back room. If you accommodate me, it's fine. They don't say that. They agree. I will be the mayor, it's fine. And then that is it. Now, governance comes with experience. It's good when you are an opponent because you wake up and oppose and they say all sorts of things. But the taste is in the pudding, in the detail, that you've got to now govern and then you're faced with the bigger challenges. And that is what actually happens. So we need to work with everybody and then institutionalize in terms of legislation, coalition governments, how they should actually happen in our country. Now, I've seen people going everywhere in Germany wanting
All right, the ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula there.